Hello. Okay, people. Um, this video is actually taken on my old laptop. Basically, the other night I decided I have two laptops. I have my new laptop. It's an HP Stream. It's lightweight. It's convenient to use, but it has had sound issues recently. This old laptop. Hopefully has better sound, but for a long time I couldn't use it because there was space issues. It was old, it was slightly damaged. But the other night I spent a bit of time and I basically reset the whole thing. It doesn't take an IT expert to do that. It's relatively simple. You basically follow the steps online. What it does is it gets rid of all your files. It just basically cleans up the system and frees a lot of space. But if you decide to do something like that, make sure you've got backups. But I do recommend it if you're having space problems, if you're having sound issues, almost anything. It is a quick fix. It does work. And just be careful you don't go to factory settings. I didn't go for that option because I think that brings you to the very basis. You can't do anything. What this does is it keeps you on the internet, keeps you on the very basic, I think, search bars. I think it's Microsoft um, and the search bars that come with that. But basically, hopefully, this will be much better sound. And if it works, I might use this from now on. But I don't know how long the upload time will be. Actually, all the videos I made before 2019 would have been on this. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, with more space, it will be better quality. So do give me feedback. I done a little test just before uploading this, and the sound seemed good. So yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing is the subject of this video. I needed a video to talk about, a subject to talk about in order to make this video as a test. And I thought that I'd talk about online dating. Now, I don't want my channel to become sort of all about that. Um, I made a few videos now. I think this might be my fourth or fifth video on the subject. Um, I think it's topical. I think a lot of people can relate to it. It's certainly something I want to talk about. But at the same time, it is something of a personal issue, so I don't want it to sort of dominate my channel, because my channel tends to be more about current affairs, socio-politics, and so on. Whereas with online dating, naturally, it's a bit more personal. So I'm maybe not going to go into too many details on the slightly more personal side of things. For example, what sort of partner I'm looking for exactly, and things like that. Just I want to focus more on just the general nature of online dating and what to expect if you haven't done it before. Now, the first thing that people often say with this is, "Oh, it's not worth it, mate. Just find someone outside." Well, I know where they're coming from because maybe they've tried it and they've had the same headache that I've had and a lot of people have had. The problem is saying find someone outside is overly simplistic, and if they've if they've went to a dating site in the first place, they should know that. They should know why that's an overly simplistic piece of advice. And if I'm honest, it annoys me a little bit because it's overly simplistic. If I could find the ideal woman, or at least a nice young lady that would tick a lot of my boxes, and she just appears, that would be wonderful. But the thing is, how do we meet people? You meet them in social situations, you meet them through work, you meet them in different scenarios, right? So my work is freelance. It's not like working in an office where I have colleagues. I don't really have any colleagues. I'm a tutor, so I work freelance. So that isn't really an option in terms of meeting people. My social life is okay. It could certainly be better. So people might say, well, join different associations, clubs, and so on. I did join a reading group a while back, but a lot of the people were just older, so that wasn't really viable. It has worked before. My last girlfriend, actually, 7 years ago. That's how long I've been single. 7 years ago, I did meet her in a social context. What actually happened was a guy that I helped with some work, an assignment. I was proofreading his assignment, and he invited me to this party. It's like an international sort of student party, and I went, and it was a good evening. and I started talking to this young lady, and yeah, we just got close. And kind of in passing, I said, this was in Newcastle. I said, "Would you like to see Sunderland? If you've not been before, I'm happy to show you around." And I meant that genuinely, like a friendly thing, because it's the sort of guy I am. And I thought she'd make excuses and say she was busy, but actually, because what happened is I'd stayed overnight, and I kind of went into I was a bit hungover, and I went into the kitchen to get some tea, and she came in as well, and we just made small talk, and we went from there. She agreed. She came back to Sunderland. I showed her. I actually did show her the museum in our local park and stuff. But yeah, we were. There was clearly something there as well. There was some chemistry between us, and it went from there, and it was wonderful. But she had to leave the country with visa issues. In the end, she was Chinese. Um, but yeah, she was a special person in my life, and I missed her a lot when it happened when she left. But that was an example of meeting someone outside. My first girlfriend I also met outside, but the thing is, the circumstances have changed. The social club where I met my first girlfriend has now closed. So the point I'm making is, it's all very well saying, "Oh, online dating, don't waste your time with it. Just meet people in the real world." That's all very well, but it's not always easy to get circumstances to meet people in the real world. Another thing about real world dating is, unlike online dating, you don't know if people are single. You don't know if people are looking for someone. Now, granted, you could get fake people with online dating. You could get people cheating on on their partners with online dating. But at least there's a general broad goal there where people are looking to find someone for whatever reason. That's why they're on the dating site. In the real world, it's basically, you have to just take a risk. Like, if you like someone, you have to. And I think generally it's true to say that men do make the first move. So us guys, we need to basically just hope that she's single and hope that she might be interested. Um, so that's something. As for going up to women in bars, that's fine. That's I'm not judging it, but for me, it's not my scene, for one thing. But secondly, it's I just don't think it's practical, because you can't hear yourself think. You end up shouting over the noise, and it's just I just don't think that's practical. And if it depends what you're looking for. Me, if you're looking for one night stand, maybe it could work. If you're looking for a bit of fun, maybe that's an option. Um, but for me, I'm looking for a serious partner. Now, I'm not saying I'm looking to find my wife immediately, but I'm at the point now at 37 that I I do take it more seriously, and I want to. I don't like the expression "settle down," but I want to find someone who takes it the same way I do, which is not playing games. Um, yeah, so that's another reason why going up to a girl in a bar just isn't really an option. If you're of a similar, if you're looking for a similar thing to me. Um, so yeah, if the social life was better, maybe that would be an option, but just isn't. So online dating, I'm not going to go through all the details because I did talk a bit about this in previous videos, but I went to eHarmony just because it was established, it was well known. I'd probably seen some of their advertisements, and it just seemed professional. It just came across as more professional than some of the other sites. Like, it was about romance, it was about dating as opposed to um, hookups, which is Tinder. And honestly, if you've used both Tinder and eHarmony, you will see a contrast. People say all dating sites are the same. I don't agree with that. I do think there are differences. Now, you might get similar issues on all dating sites, but in terms of the marketing, in terms of the outlay, in terms of the whole format, there's definitely a difference. With Tinder, you're swiping, basically. Let's face it, it's basic aesthetics. Like, oh, she's nice, I'm attracted to her, swipe, swipe. That's what it is. Now, I'm not against aesthetics, actually, and I think people say it's only what's inside that counts, or being a little bit disingenuous. Most people, I honestly believe this, most people, if they're being honest, will acknowledge that looks are part of it. We are physically attracted to people. If you see someone in the street, you don't know what sort of personality they have. You don't know if they're an honest person, a kind person, a selfish person. You don't know anything. But aesthetics, it is what it is. You see, you're either attracted or you're not. You might like a tall person, a short person. You might like a particular hair color, whatever. Okay, and that's something that it's absolutely basic. It's absolutely, you just see it. Of course, it's not everything. Um, I mean, I've come across plenty of attractive women who I was turned off by immediately after a few minutes because of the certain approach they took or an attitude that they took. So, of course, it's personality as well, but um, yeah, aesthetics is part of it. And I think people who say that it isn't are being a little bit disingenuous. Um, so I went to eHarmony. I decided to pay up front at the time. Wasn't cheap, but I had saved a bit of money at the time. I think it was £109 for the whole year. The reason I done that was I didn't want to pay monthly. I'm not in the sort of job that can do that, so I thought I'll just pay this upright. Um, that gives you a bit of flexibility too, because if something doesn't work out with someone, you've got time. There's plenty of fish in the sea, as they say. Um, I recently updated my eHarmony membership. And one good thing about that is they give you a huge discount. So I think it was only £66 for a whole year this time round because I was a returning member. So that's an advantage. With eHarmony, the basic format is you get to message someone 5 times. That could be in the form of a message, a little emoji, um, but 5 times, and then they kind of cut it off to give the other person a chance to reply. Um, and yeah, once they communicate, then it's you just go back and forth. What they do is they match you up with people that are supposedly compatible. Now, that's one thing about eHarmony. I'm a little bit. I don't quite understand their rationale for that because they've matched me with people, and it's like a numbering system. So the higher the number, the more compatible you supposedly are. So, for example, if it's 110, supposedly you're very compatible with that person. 90 in the 90s would be about average. Under, let's say, 80 means you're not that compatible. But sometimes I wonder what's eHarmony thinking here. Like, what have I got in common with this woman? We don't have, she's got very little information to go on. So what are they basing this on? So I still don't entirely know what the rationale for that is. But you can put search criteria, so location, whether it's in the United Kingdom, if you want to search internationally. I did initially search internationally. Now I'm looking more to the UK simply because, let's say I find my ideal partner in another country, which I'd be open minded about. We still have to navigate the British Home Office, and there's all of that. So it's, in a sense, if she was already in the UK, that's ideal, obviously. Um, you can search for the age range. You can search for lots of things, ethnicity. Yeah, that. But what eHarmony doesn't do is like aesthetics so much. So it won't say, "Are you looking for slim or athletic or blonde, brunette?" It doesn't do that. Um, and every day, a couple new people will appear on your matching. So yeah, I try to be proactive. If I'm interested in a woman, I will message her. But this is what I want to talk about. I think one of the things with online dating that people find very frustrating is the fact that you're basically relying on other people's good faith in the sense that, I mean, for me, I value good manners very highly. So people might disagree with this, but I take the view that if I'm taking time to message someone, it's polite to acknowledge the message. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. Maybe, if someone doesn't reply, she thinks, "Oh, I'm sparing his feelings because I'm not interested and therefore I won't reply." To me, it's just being a little bit like, I'd rather someone acknowledge the time that I put into it and say something like, "Thank you for your nice message, but to be honest, I don't think we're compatible. Best wishes." That would be fine. Um, if you're on, if you're with online dating for any length of time, trust me, you will need patience. You get a situation where people have seen messages and they're ignoring them, or you get a situation where maybe people have seen messages but they can't reply because they don't have the premium service. This is another thing. It's not so. It takes a bit of practice to not take things personally, because you can start to think, is there something wrong with me? What? Why is she not replying? Or but it may genuinely be that she hasn't paid for the premium. And what happens if you have the basic membership, which, by the way, is a complete waste of time on any dating site? You can't do anything. What they'll do is they'll let you set up a profile, and that's pretty much it. You can't see other profiles because they're all faded out. If someone messages you, you can't reply to them, which then makes you feel guilty because you're leaving them in the dark. So it's I really recommend, if you're going to do online dating, pay for it, because that's the only way that you're going to get anything out of it. If you have a basic service, you honestly cannot do anything. So it's worth paying for in order to be able to use to be able to message people, to be able to search and so on. eHarmony has a video service, but it isn't wonderful. I find Skype is more stable. So usually, if I get close to someone, if we're talking, I will suggest, if you're comfortable with it, let's try Skype. And I'm always very careful not to be too pushy. I always try to be a gentleman. Like, if you're comfortable, and so on. Um, but yeah, it does take enormous patience. It really does. And what you find is, if you have a negative experience, it can be hard. You need to try and compartmentalize it. This is what I'm telling myself. So I've had time wasters. I've had insincere people. Um, it really, really takes a lot of practice to say, well, okay, that was a negative experience, but everyone's different. So because she was a bit immature or selfish doesn't mean everyone will be. Um, because the thing is, with online dating, you're not only sort of like any sort of human communication, it's not only a case of, well, this is how I feel and this is how I think about the world and how I approach this. And, you want to respect the other person's approach as well and not be too domineering. There's that, but there is also the basic form of communication. People, so maybe not everyone communicates in the same way. Maybe some people are just naturally more blasé about things. With me, communication matters. With me, it's like, okay, well, you've agreed to talk. Let's agree a time. That sort of thing is, to me, that's normal. But maybe some people are more blasé. Oh, let's talk next week. I'm thinking, well, when? What time? It's so people think about things differently. Um, and honestly, I'd make a loose analogy, very, very loose analogy. If you go to university for the first time, it can be overwhelming. You're a young person, you're going into this environment where everyone's trying to find themselves, right? Um, Online dating is sort of like that, in the sense that you're going into this arena and everyone is looking for a particular thing. You're looking for a particular thing, and you hope that you won't be hurt, and you don't want to hurt anyone else if you're a decent person. And it's just this constant balancing act. So my advice to anyone who's thinking about getting onto online dating, I wouldn't totally dismiss it. People have found their partners from online dating. And even at this point, even despite the negative experiences I've had, and I've had quite a few, I wouldn't totally dismiss it. I wouldn't say, oh, it's a complete waste of time, or, everyone is fake or something like that. I really don't believe that's the case. I've spoke to women online, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Maybe they still had feelings for an ex, or maybe, for whatever reason, maybe it was a practical reason, like neither of us could relocate, something like that. But we respected each other and we got on well, and there was good rapport there. So don't sort of think that it's always going to be awkward and it's always going to be difficult. If you're an introverted person, um, that's not the case. It won't necessarily be. You'll find that most people, there's no experts on this. You'll find most people are just approaching it in the way that they sort of feel comfortable, and um, you could be sure they will be getting disappointments too. So, in a sense, everyone's on the same boat. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has the same success. but everyone's on the same boat in terms of how this arena is. What else can I say? I'm going to wrap this up soon because I don't know how long the upload speed will be on this. But what else can I say? Um, don't remember, not everyone is on the premium, so if someone isn't replying, it doesn't necessarily mean they're being rude or they're snubbing you. They may genuinely not be on the premium service. They may be busy. They may simply not be able to log in every day. With me, I can, but not everyone can. What else? Um, yeah, for me personally, I'm attracted to profiles that have a bit of information. A lot of people are a little bit reticent to put out information about themselves. Now, I understand if it's very personal, but they've nothing. I've seen profiles literally saying, introduction, yes, yes. And then maybe in those cases, it may be that the person has limited English, I don't know. But in other cases, I've seen people like, British girls say things that are very, very basic. And this isn't meaning to be derogatory to anyone, it's just honestly what I've seen. It's like, I'm looking for a guy I can trust. Well, yeah, that's just a given. Of course, you want to trust him, but that doesn't say anything about you. So to me, that's just a cliched profile. Of course, you want trust. Everyone does, but that doesn't say anything about you. It doesn't give the other person any information. So it's a bit of give and take. The way I see it is, I've given a fair bit of information on my profile because I want people to be. It's not that I want to wear my heart on my sleeve and be a total open book, but I want to just give some information so that I'm not totally, so that they see that there is something there and I'm actually taking it seriously. Um, Half an hour ago, I got a message. I messaged a girl, and her response was, "Call me or give me your number." I'm immediately thinking that's either a fake account or, because no one does that on eHarmony. No woman does that on eHarmony. Most women, because they're taking it more seriously, they would prefer let's chat first, as I do actually. So when someone says send me your number, I'm thinking, what, do you know what, chat a bit first? Like, you don't know who I am. That's so I'm immediately expecting that account to be taken down tomorrow. Um, So you have to just be comfortable with yourself. Don't lose faith. Don't lose confidence, and try not to let negative experience shape things. I spoke about previously about two very difficult experiences I've had, and I'm not going to go into massive details here because I did talk about them before. One was ghosting. That's not something you want to go through. It's very unpleasant. The other one was just someone who I got very close to, and she'd done a sudden U-turn, and well, it was very, very difficult. So online dating can test your mental health. It can. The best advice I can give, or the best observation I can make with that, is always be aware that everyone is in the same arena. So if someone's hurt you, remember that the chances are they'll get hurt at some point, or they'll be disappointed too. You know, I have to say, most of the people I've engaged with on some level have been civil. I haven't come across any very rude people or totally fake people or anything like that. And that's one thing I would say about eHarmony. Generally speaking, people do take it more seriously. That doesn't mean everyone puts the same investment into it, but um, I would say, for example, let's say I've spoken to 20, 25 women on that site by video, when we got to that level. And I would say, honestly, about 20 of them, I would say, were decent people. And obviously, it didn't work out. But you may be thinking, whoa, that's awful. You spoke to 20 people and you still are single. Is that not a testament to how this doesn't work? I would say not necessarily, because, if you're looking for a serious relationship, you need to be quite selective and you need to be aware of what you're looking for. I mean, I've rejected people as well on the site. So I don't really mind, like, oh well, I didn't find my girlfriend in the first call. I don't expect that. And if you're going on to online dating, do expect it to take a bit of time. and just try to remember that there will be disappointment. So, for example, you might get your hopes up about someone. You know, she might seem nice, he might seem nice. You might talk to them, and it might be great and all civil, and then something will happen. They'll do a U-turn, they'll change their mind. You'll find that there's a practical barrier. Maybe they don't want to relocate, or you don't want to relocate, or whatever it is. Um, so I can't make any sort of resounding conclusion with this because I'm still doing it. My membership lasts until November. I At that point, if I'm still single, definitely I'll be depressed, and but I'm cautiously optimistic because I have actually had quite a bit of dialogue recently, and it just takes patience. So if you can sort of compartmentalize the problems with online dating, you know, people not getting back to you, and ladies, by the way, if you happen to be watching this, don't be afraid to make the first move. It's 2023. I do feel there's this kind of traditional concept on eHarmony where guys are expected to always make the first move. So ladies, don't be afraid to. You know, it's not too forward. It's not, you know, that's a good thing because some guys are also introverted, or you know, so just don't be afraid to do that. And the other thing I would say is if someone's spending the time reaching out, in my opinion, you might think, okay, if I ignore him, he'll show I'm not interested. But with eHarmony, you know, you can see if someone's read a message. So if you just say nothing, to me, it's a little bit dismissive and a little bit rude because it shows you're not valuing the time that they've put into it. I actually had a case a while back where this one member had literally asked guys to send her a long, thoughtful message. She literally said that on her profile. So I done it. And of course, 5 days later, still no reply. So, yeah, I think I didn't trust her at all. And she ended up, I noticed her profile was actually removed. And it said the next day, this member has violated our terms and agreements or something like that. So clearly she was playing games with people, which is a shitty thing to do. You know, if you're going on into online dating with a very selfish agenda, or you're going to play games with people's feelings, then frankly, you deserve to get a bit of backlash for that because it's, you know, it's a shitty thing to do. But if you're going into it with sincere purposes, I wish you all the best. And please just don't be hard on yourself. Try not to take things personally and enjoy it if you can. I mean, even if you don't, you know, find your boyfriend or girlfriend, just you can make friends through it. I know that's not the main purpose, but I'm connected with quite a few people there that we agree to be friends. And you know, it's not ideal. It's not what you go to a dating site for, but um, I don't sort of say, oh, the friend zone is terrible. I think that's okay in some of those cases because we mutually agreed it wasn't necessarily going to work out romantically, but you know, if I'm thinking, well, I respect her, I like her as a person, we could be good friends. Yeah. So that's that just proves that it's not a case of, oh, everyone's fake and everyone's a time waster. I think it's with online dating, it's a little bit like social media. Sometimes people are overly cynical. It's not all bad. It really isn't. But it does take enormous patience. It does. And you need thick skin in order to not be totally deflated. The other thing is, and I'm telling this to myself, I guess, don't overly rely on it. Still look for people outside, and maybe don't log in every day because it can be bad for your mental health if you do. But that's what I would say about online dating. If anyone has any questions about any practical thing, anything, specific about eHarmony, because that's the site that I know best, feel free to send a message below, comment below, and I'll try to answer. Any trolling comments will be deleted. I'm not going to put up with that. I just say that because it's happened before. Not, you know, I'm not saying it happens much, but it has happened, and you know, they'll be deleted and blocked. Simple as that. But you know, anyone who's genuinely interested. But guys, please don't bother with online dating because to me that would just show that you haven't watched this video. You know, I said at the start that is something people say, but it's not that simple. So please don't overly simplify things. Right. Thanks for watching. and I'll see how. Yeah, hopefully this will upload quite quickly.